tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
Hey guys, so I hope that you guys enjoyed the kind of random workout footage of this week. I didn't get a ton of training footage this week, just because I started a new semester and I've been busy with that, and I've had a few business changes that I will be updating you guys with a little later this week. But I wanted to voice over on my push workout today. Hopefully, I can provide you guys a little bit of insight on my thought process behind exercises and periodization and whatnot. So I think I will just hop right into it. This was my week 2 of my mesocycle for hypertrophy. This was my vertical push emphasis, similarly to back, I divide emphasis with my pushing movements between a horizontal and a vertical emphasis, just because of different patterns of motor unit recruitment. It helps facilitate recovery a little bit better and a little bit better overload throughout the mesocycle, which just essentially means I do this because it helps me make more sit gains, bro. But yeah, anyways, talking about this workout, I did 6 by 10 to 15 with incline dumbbell press at an RPE of 8. And so since this was week 2 of my mesocycle, I already, in week 1, I use that kind of like as the foundational week for the rest of my training. So in week 1, whatever I do at whatever RPE, I basically will have my set weight that I use as a baseline and the corresponding reps. So using this session as an example, I had, in my week 1, I had RPE 7 all. So I chose 70s, and then I got 12, 11, 10, 10 on this. And then on this next session, I added 2 sets to my incline press work, and I got 13, 12, 11, 11, 11. So basically what I did is I kept the weight the same, but I tried to either match or increase the reps I achieved on the next session. And because in this week 2 I increased my RPE, my relative intensity, usually I've found that if you add a rep to each set or something like that, you kind of already get the RPE increase. And especially with dumbbells, it's not a very smart idea to just rapidly increase loading on it, because it doesn't scale in the same way as a barbell. Like if you added 5 pounds on the dumbbells to like 75s, it's a much greater increase in intensity than just adding 5 pounds on a barbell. And it has to do with mass distribution, how the dumbbells are made and stuff like that. But essentially what I did here is I had dumbbells, and this is usually how my progressions go. When I have dumbbells, I will generally try to add reps um, to the whatever I did throughout the mesocycle, and then I will until I reach the top end of my rep goal for every single set, and then I will only then increase loading and then kind of repeat the whole process. Whereas with barbell movements, I do prefer increases of 5 to 10 pounds weekly on barbell movements, just because that's just how I prefer to do it. I'm not saying there's one right way or wrong way to do it. I'm just telling you guys what I did. But something I want to emphasize here on incline dumbbell press, really any pressing work. I found that for some reason people, and I've done this in the past too, it's been a mistake of mine. Um, for some reason they don't touch their chest or their shoulder. They don't go down as far as possible, even though on a barbell press they would. And they kind of will stop and do half reps. Just because it's dumbbells doesn't mean that you're not supposed to keep training with full range of motion. So as long as you don't feel any pain and you actually can touch your chest and in your especially in your warm-up sets, because we actually know that a loaded stretch does actually increase the mobility and range of motion in the joint. Just because you have that assisted external force loading your joint structures, then you can achieve a greater range of motion. If you're able to go down in your warm-ups and achieve a greater range of motion than on your working sets, you should probably reevaluate your technique and make adjustments with loading as needed, just to make sure that you get a full range of motion. Because full range of motion has so many benefits. It's technique standardization, so you're going to make sure that you're hitting the muscle in the same way every single session, which means that you can also track overload better because you'll have a standardized check mark range of motion. If you're doing a full range of motion ass to grass squat, and then all of a sudden you just only go to parallel next week, but you add like 15 pounds, that's not really true overload because you change the standardization. And also because you have a lower risk of overloading your tissue structures, you're going to be able to achieve, longer overload training because you won't be taxing your joint structures as much. When you're not using full range of motion, you're not taxing your muscular system as much. You are transferring a lot of that loading onto other structures such as your joints, your ligaments, your tendons, stuff like that. And that's not what we want, because we want to make sure that we stay as healthy as possible. So make sure you're using this full range of motion. After I did 6 sets of incline dumbbells, you guys saw I did 4 sets of 10 to 15 with flat dumbbell, just for variation. And then I did some seated machine overhead press. That's a new exercise. I've never done it, especially on a pulley cable system like this, but I do like it a lot. I suck at overhead press just because it's not something that I've emphasized in my past training, but it's something I'm trying to get better at because I'm weak in the mid-range of my bench press, and that's a little more anterior delts and triceps dependent. So I'm doing more of that work. And then after that, I did 3 sets of that, and then I did some tricep push downs with the rope, 4x10 to 20. Why such a long, wide rep goal? Well, because hypertrophy can occur up to 30 reps, and if I'm using something like this, because as the workout goes on, guys, you're going to be taxing. You've already used your type 2 muscle fibers, your to a larger extent, they're already taxed. So if you're trying to always do super heavy work for your whole entire session, quality of those sets is going to suffer. So it makes sense as you go later on in your workout to bias slightly higher rep ranges for that purpose, so that you can get more out of that training session. And then I finished up the session with some dumbbell upright rows. I love these. They're a great movement, and hope that you guys got something out of this voiceover. This is basically just what's going on with me, with my training right now. I'm entering week 3 of my mesocycle today. Had a rest day yesterday. Feeling good. But thanks guys for watching the video. If you guys did like it, please make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.